Welcome back for another video. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing a 5-MeO experience that I had last night. It was 3 rounds, 5-MeO DMT at 15 milligrams per dose, synthetic freebase material. So, the first round I took my medicine, I went into a state of calmness. It was like this, easing into the experience, and the energy was just like rolling through my body. It was very easy if I compare it to other experiences, or other rounds at least. Initially I took my first hit, and then I lied back and I went to go get up to take another one, but when I lifted my left hand to roll over, my right hand moved up. So I was in this symmetrical position. But then I said, screw it, I'm going to take more. So I fought it, and I got over to my pipe. I took another hit, and I lay back down, and then there's this slight moment of hesitation, of holding on, and I was lying there still. This was only over a course of a few seconds, and I was lying there still, and then I remembered my last experience on the third round where I laid still for most of the time, and I came to the conclusion that laying still is you're still holding on, you still haven't fully let go. So then that came up, so I just let go, and then the hands started coming up, and then the hands started rolling, and then the feet started rolling, and everything was going in the symmetrical movements that usually happen when I'm fully let go. So this happened, and I actually put earpods in, or headphones, AirPods. I actually wore AirPods yesterday, just to listen to music. Usually I don't listen to music on 5-MeO, but I decided I would like to try it out. And initially there was no difference. It was just I could take it or leave it kind of thing. And then by the end of the first round, I was like, okay, this is pleasant. I'd rather have it than not have it. Usually when I take psychedelics and I have music on, the music is just so synchronized with what is happening internally. It's just like one movie playing out. But I didn't really feel that on this session. It was nice to have, but it didn't really have that oomph that I was expecting, because it's 5-MeO, and I have that oomph with mushrooms or MDMA or LSD. It just wasn't there. So one thing that I was aware of is that the last few times I've taken my medicine, I get up too early. So I get up too early, and then I feel like almost disoriented, and there's this energetic pull, or this need to just be in symmetry. It's I'm getting up on my own accord to break symmetry, and then there's this feeling of there's more processing that needs to happen. So then I lie back down and I'm in symmetry, and then whatever happens. But here I was aware of this, so I waited for it to fully conclude. And how it did that was, my hands are doing this. I was fully in that space, so it was really easy to tell. And then I could feel it a bit, and then the hands would break symmetry, and then from there it was okay, let's go do another round. So my second round was it just literally blew me away. It blew me out of the water. It was like being hit by a freight train. Usually I can take my hit and I have enough time to lie back down on the mat, and then there's this ramping up of a couple seconds. And at this time, I took my hit, and I didn't even have time to put the pipe down. It was I just froze in time, and then I was I couldn't even move my body, and then my my mouth filled with saliva, and I was oh, I can't even swallow it. So I just luckily I had my bucket there. Always have a bucket. So I just kind of drooled into the bucket, and then I put the bucket back, and I kind of rolled back onto my mat. But instead of stopping in symmetry, I just kept rolling, and I rolled onto my other side, and I was kind of rolling around a bit, and the energy was just infinite this time. It just I would say I reached infinity in the first round, but this just fucking 10 million times more powerful. I don't know. I don't even know. It is incredible, and I couldn't. There was no sense of laying in symmetry. Everywhere I looked, it was just I'm God, I'm God. I'm just just too much. It was just so powerful. So So I ended up getting up and I ended up walking around my house. And as I'm walking, I'm processing. And there's like these sounds that are coming out. And then there'd be like a string of sounds, and then it would end at yes. Like I would reach that place of being able to say that string of like that energetic pattern in English. And once I said it in English, it was like there's no more needing to process. So I just like dropped that pattern, and then I'd wait for the next one to come up. And this happened like a number of times. And as I'm walking around, the ego is like starting to reform. It's like it would come back and I would catch it, and then whatever way I would catch it, I would just like try to drop it. And it was this process. Like it was like trying to reform the old patterns, but the energy was so powerful that I could like see it like instantaneously, and then it would just fall away. So I did a few laps, and I was really contemplating whether or not I should do my third round, because as the ego's reforming, there's like a bit of fear. There's like more and more fear as it's trying to reform, and then finally it just like fully like took a hold, and then I realized that I should take the third hit, and then as I realized that, it was like a wave of fear just like rushed into every cell of my body. And this fear was not like fear I've experienced before, but it was fear, but there was an acceptance of this is it, like this is what's happening. So there's no sense of like making it more or less than what it was. And as that happened, the fear came, but there wasn't like this like mental like structure around it. It was just a feeling, and that's it. And it was so much less like powerful, like it had such less power over me than what I've given fear in the past. So I fully accepted that I need to do the third hit, and that this could be the end of Josh. And then the next thought was, man, I'm just torturing myself. Like, I just want to get this over with. I felt like I was torturing myself to prolong it in any way. So I just decided then and there, I'm just going to go take my third hit, and whatever happens, happens. So I went to the room without any hesitation, lit the pipe, took my hit, and, just energy infinite again. And then I got up immediately, and I felt like I needed to text my wife. And I looked at my phone, and I couldn't even read what it was saying. Like all the letters were like, it just wasn't even English. I couldn't even focus on what was happening. So then I came out and I did a lap, and I decided I was going to go for a walk. I was like, okay, I'm going to go for a walk. Yeah. And then I grabbed my sweater. It was like 10 at night last night. And then I go and like, oh, I should bring my phone. And so I go for a walk, and I decided I'm going to bring my phone. So I'm looking at it, and it's kind of English, but I can't really make it up. Like, no, I really need to like focus. And like as I'm focusing, like the words like come together, and it like makes English text. So I look, and like my there was a warning sign that I couldn't understand, but it was that my memory was full. I was filming the experience. So I got past that. I turned off airplane mode, and then I just text my wife quickly, and then I head outside. Like this is all within like 3 or 4 minutes of like taking the last hit. So I head outside, I go down the street, and as I'm walking, I'm in full God mode. Like my posture has never been better. My shoulders are like energetically locked back in place. I'm like standing up straight. I have no pain in my body. Usually, like lately, I've been having this like hip pain that's been bugging me, and then my neck's been on and off for many, many years. But there's just no pain whatsoever. And I'm walking, I'm standing straight up, I'm looking at all the houses, just walking down the street. There's like a slight distortion of visuals, but for the most part, it's just normal life. So I'm walking along, and then I could feel the ego coming back. And then it came back, and then my shoulders like slouched forward and down. And then I went back to God mode, where I'm like, this is like high intensity, and like the shoulders lock back into place. I stand up straight, then the ego comes back, and then my shoulders slouch forward. And it was like this like 10 times. I was just like watching the ego come back, then it would fall away. Then it would come back, and it would fall away. Like the ego is like, just like the entire character, including body posture. And like I just saw it clear as day like that. So then I went for my walk, finished my walk. It was not long, but by the time I did get home, the medicine had worn off at this point. So Martin Ball, he describes when he does 3 rounds with people, the first round is usually like this like easing into it. Then the second round is turning your world inside out. And then the third round is kind of like coasting back to like a baseline. And I've never really found that to be true. All my experiences are like so vastly different. Like sometimes the first round is really powerful, and then sometimes the third round or second round, it doesn't matter. Like I've had it all over the place, but last night was just like, that's what he's talking about. Like it almost like the first round lulled me into like a false sense of security, and then the second round just like ripped me completely wide open. You know, another thing too is that I've used a torch lighter for my last couple times, and it just hasn't had that like impact. So I went back to the way I used to do it, and yeah, that played a part. I definitely got a lot more of the vapor into my lungs. And then during the second round, you know, somebody had messaged me saying that sometimes people, when they get the cosmic joke, they laugh. And I've had that before. Like I've reached this place, I'm God, and then I just laugh at it. But yesterday I reached that place when I was walking around my kitchen. I was like, I'm God, and it is a joke. And I was just laughing, like just that deep laugh. I was like realizing that it is all me. Yeah, and then today, waking up after the experience, like I had this illusion, and it's kind of like transformed over time about like how close I am to enlightenment. Like if I'm that close, if I'm close at all. And always in the back of my mind, I've always felt like, or maybe not always, but for the last while, I've had this like thought that, man, I'm just so close. And like even if I just like, no, I'm not close at all, just let it go, it's still been there. There's just like this like still, like I can see that now. Because waking up today, it's fuck, I have no idea. Like, I just have absolutely no idea. And like I could see the ego. And when I was lying in bed this morning, the ego was trying to make sense of the experience. But everywhere it would go, meaning it would travel down like a thought pattern, or it would travel down a way to like reincorporate its old behaviors. But everywhere it went, there'd be this roadblock where it just didn't make sense anymore. And then it would try, and so it met this roadblock, and then it would try a different avenue, and then it just didn't make sense anymore. There's no sense of going beyond it because there's no actuality behind it. And then I'd try another one, like as the ego. So it was like that for about an hour this morning, and it was like kind of confusing, I don't know, it wasn't really pleasant. But then after time, I came to this conclusion that I've been at before. It's like you cannot make sense of the experience. The experience happened, and that's it. Now just move on. So that's basically what happened. You know, I haven't really gotten up and walked around on 5-MeO in many sessions, so this really caught me off guard. I don't really know what to do from here. I'm assuming I'll do 5-MeO again, but like I really just don't know. It's left a lot more emptiness, and that's a good thing. So anyway, that's my experience. So I'm going to post the actual experience. I'll post that in a few days. If you are new to this channel, consider subscribing, as I'm documenting my journey with the medicines as I try to understand as best I can this whole non-duality thing. If you made it this far, thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.